Let's hear from Terry Fontenot. Are you convinced completely that, again, we are not in the quarterback business, right? Are you? Well, Terry Fontenot was talking about bringing in more quarterbacks. Now, when he says this, is he talking about drafting or is he talking about going out and acquiring somebody via free agency?
I think we're going to get some retread to sit there and hold a clipboard and hope that Ritter just continues to grow into the job.
Here's Terry Fontenot, the general manager of the Falcons.
We're still evaluating and going through that process, and want to be real straightforward about Desmond and how positive everything is with him and how much we appreciate Desmond and how excited we are about him. But we're not going to close any doors. We need to add to that position, free agency, to draft, both, and we won't box ourselves in a corner and say specifically what we're trying to bring in, but we want to continue to make the team better, and we're definitely going to bring in some quarterbacks.
All right. So they're appreciative of Desmond Ritter, and they want to be positive about that because, again, if you say right now, we're not convinced that he's going to be the guy, you completely crush that.
Right.
So he doesn't say that. But he says both, Mike. We'll bring in more quarterbacks. We're bringing in more guys into that room. It does leave the door open a little bit for them to maybe draft a guy. It does.
I got to be honest. I think when we are going into camp later this summer, I think it's going to be somebody like a Teddy Bridgewater or a Jacoby Brissett making less than what Mariota made last year.
Okay.
And hopefully that's how the cookie will crumble. And you'll have a steady, if not spectacular backup. Brissett might be the guy I'd be looking for right now. And then you want to take a flyer on somebody in the 6th or 7th round, so be it. But you're not going to dedicate a higher pick unless there's somebody that some strange set of circumstances falls into like the first or the high second, right?
Well,
I mean, it sounds. I mean,
let me ask you.
Arthur did say no. Everyone's going to earn their keep here, but I still think Ritter's the guy they've earmarked for the job.
Well, listen, I want to believe that too. But I also just know that when these teams start working on stuff, Mike, and if somebody thoroughly impresses you, they're not going to. Listen, somebody could blow doors. Let's just say it's Anthony Richardson. And you can pick your guy. Hey, Will Levis, I don't care who you pick. And he blows doors, and they go, man, he's really impressive. Here's the deal. If the Bears are thinking about trading Justin Fields, you're going to tell me the Falcons couldn't think about drafting another quarterback?
No, I mean, that's...
I'm just asking you.
No, I mean, now, the Fields thing is its own unique kind of thing because I would be curious. I'd love to know what the ask is. I'd kick the tires on that. Some people say they've seen enough of Fields. I don't think Fields is even close to scratching the surface. I mean, reaching his potential. No. I think there's things out there, and I think a good coach like Arthur Smith, I think can get certainly more out of him. I'm not making excuses for Fields. They've had some really lame coaches in Chi-Town, and Nagy is better served being Andy Reid's, number 2. But I'd be hella interested in if Justin Fields was on the trading block.
I agree, but it's out there. We can't just go, well, the Falcons would never do that. The Bears have the first pick, and they're talking about this, and he has a bigger sample size than the quarterback we are all wanting to believe in. And yet you're going to say, well, no, the Falcons wouldn't do that. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We think we know, but we don't know. Terry Fontenot also talked about, Mike, the goal is to get our interior better. He admits it. He says it. What's he going to do about it?
Well, you always want to prioritize your front. Right?
Yeah.
You always want to prioritize up front, and whether you're talking about O-line, D-line, that's always going to be important. Now, how you do that doesn't mean they all have to be top-paid guys, or that doesn't mean they all have to be top draft picks. You want to find the right guy, so we do. We want to be a tough, physical, competitive team, and we want to prioritize the front, and yet you still have to – it's a total picture, man, so we got to make the whole team better. It's a complementary game.
By the way, Terry Fontenot, full interview online with Andy and Randy as he talked to those guys. Last but not least, we got a lot of cap space. Can you imagine, like, seriously, just walking in and going, you've got $70 million to spend, and you can pretty much go after any particular free agent you want to go after, because I think right now we have the second most amount of money. Here's what he said about having that amount of cap space and the work to do.
Clearly, we have a lot of cap space, and clearly we have a lot of flexibility. That was a part of the plan. This is the phase we're in. But we have to be cautious because we're not trying to get instant credibility or win a press conference. Or we want to make sure that we're bringing in the right types of players for our building. And that's we have a lot of work to do. When you have a lot of cap space, there's a reason you have a lot of cap space. That means you have a lot of work to do. We have to add to every position, every phase So we just want to make sure we have the right discipline, again, not just outside the building, but inside the building as well. And we're doing the right things. We have to set parameters, because if we don't, then we could get ourselves in a bind. So yeah, we need to add a lot. And we just want to make sure we go through the process in the right way and focus on the right kind of people. We have to focus on our makeup and not compromise that at all.
I mean, I get where he's coming from, but I think a guy like Javon Hargrave kind of fits the bill. Just came off a Super Bowl, championship, and this guy, a performance in a Super Bowl, and this guy's 30 years of age. He's already played in another one, and the dude is a stud, and he's 30, so he's at the right spot where you can give him that money. And then if you want to go, if you stick with Lorenzo Carter, I don't think you stick with Lorenzo Carter. I go after Arden Key. Didn't we talk about that last week?
We did.
That's a name out there. But again, the point we're getting to is you've got to be judicious. You can't just sit there and go, everybody gets, like your Oprah, you get a car and you get a car. You're going to have to be smart about how you go, because all of a sudden you're going to look up and now, it will go. I think maybe I'm guilty of that as a fan, not realizing how quickly it will go and how it'll get gobbled up quickly if you start doing the things he's talking about.
Yeah, and again, I'd rather spend smartly than just spend to spend, which is what he's talking about.